you know, you were asked about how you look back. Generally, the question was how you look back on our time at doing His and Hers, which I often describe, and I'm sure you do too, as like, we were doing some of the craziest, dumbest things you would ever put on television, but it all worked. The first place I want to go is by saying that, as well as I think I know you, I have actually recently learned a lot of things about you I didn't know, or rather, I should say, I've seen you admit some things that I didn't really realize that you felt. And I'm going to go immediately to the GQ article that Megan Armstrong did, who we both know and love and adore, who in many ways we mentored, you know, young writer, very thoughtful. And she wrote a piece about you for GQ, and you said a few things in there that I was like, really? I'm shocked. So I did not know this Michael Smith that in particular, you know, said the following, and I shall read back your own quote, because that's, you know, what apparently good hosts do when they prepare. So
hey, let me just pause this right quick, because you're getting into it. You're getting all professional. Let me just pause this just for a second. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. Look, I get asked so much about our relationship, despite what you may think, in terms of, yes, I've had on Gabrielle Union and all these other different, John Legend and all these other different people, but the number one person by far,
Kamala Harris.
Kamala
I mean, you
Harris,
know, like, I mean, come
Cory
on.
Booker, and
I mean, come
Beto
on.
O'Rourke, and all these people. And I can tell you, the number one person everyone asks me about is you, which I think is a really big compliment, not just to you, but I think it's a compliment to obviously the television and the content we've been able to create together, the friendship that we have. So every time I do it, or every time I'm asked rather, it makes me smile. It honestly does, because I'm just like, oh, they remember. Okay, good. So now let me get back to the thing that I thought was really interesting about what you said. Okay, you were asked about the His and Hers days, which, of course, those who are listening now, you know, how many years was that? That was 3? I feel like
Numbers Never Lie or His and Hers?
Well, we started as Numbers Never Lie.
Yeah, that was like, that was
2013.
13, right. We changed to His and Hers in 14. And we went 14 to 17. No, 14. Right. Well, was it even, I don't know if it was 17, because, you know, we got the promotion, so to speak, in 16. And then started SportsCenter in 17. We did. Correct. And by the way, you know, here's what's crazy. I don't want to get you too off track, but it's like, you know, and I'm flattered by the compliment that people ask about me. I wonder, now that you say that, for how many people listening to this podcast, is this their introduction to me? Because like, since ESPN and since SportsCenter, His and Hers, like, there's a whole different audience that tunes into you in this podcast now that hasn't seen us together, which is crazy. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that like, who the fuck is this guy? You know what I mean? Like the people that's been knowing you for years know who I am. But there's a lot of people that's never heard us talk together before. I imagine.
That's spoken like a good producer. So allow me to reintroduce ourselves then. For those who do not know, right? Look at that. You still giving me alley-oops. This is why I love it. So Michael Smith and I.
Like I'm like Wade. I'm throwing the alley-oop and I'm running away.
The wings like, spread out. Right. So for those who do not know, Michael Smith is my television partner.
You know, don't nobody do it like me. Come on now.
I know. Look, we used to talk about this off air, on air. We were like, man, we got the perfect partnership here. So we've long known. I think we met. I feel like in 2001. I think that's when it was. It was either 1 or 2. I feel like it was 2002.
2 because it was Celtics Pistons playoffs.
Correct. That's when Michael and I first met. And you know, not without going through the whole exhausting backstory, which you can honestly look up on YouTube or Google it. Like it's there for everybody to see it. I don't want to go through all of it. But we first met then. We were friends first. Mike wound up at ESPN before I did. I got to ESPN. We became even better friends there because we were often stuck in Bristol together on this career track of trying to find our own real estate and find ourselves and our identity within the larger ecosphere of ESPN. And then despite much insistence that we could do great television together, we were often told no. And then we did a podcast first, which became a television show. And so we did daily TV together from 2013 until 2018.
And if I may interject, I was just telling another non-Jemele Hill is Unbothered podcast yesterday, Brian Curtis, our friend from The Ringer.
Yes, I was just saying
this. Yeah, I was saying it wasn't. So you heard me say this then. It wasn't like we just did TV together. We ate lunch together. We came in to work together. We drove together. We traveled together. We hung out together. Our desks were next to each other. Yep. I mean, it was not just an on-air partnership.
It's hard for people who did not or do not understand how Bristol, Connecticut is to understand why two people would spend that much time together. And I'm just like, you guys just don't understand. Like, there's nothing else to do in Bristol. And so we stayed at the same hotel, like, and I need to be very clear.
Not the same room. Not the same room, but the same hotel. Yes, yes.
Hotel. Like,
but there were many a time we would check in and they'd give us this one key and think we were together. All happened all the time.
We'd be like, oh, no, we're not together. We would often be on the same floor, right? And so it was just really funny, but they saw us so often that we had like a Bristol routine, if you will. It's like, all right, you done it this time, I'm done it this time, let's go grab some dinner, let's go to the movie. Like, that was what it was. And so, people even in the building would be like, y'all sure y'all ain't together? Like, nah, we're not together. Like, there's nothing going on here.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. But anyway, I say all that to say is, like, from a professional standpoint, we were on daily television together from 2013 to 2018. Most people came to know of us through each other. Like, we were that duo, that was what it was. And so I give you that background because we have not done anything since 2018 together in a format of a media capacity at all. We have certainly seen each other since 2018, but we have not been together in this regard. So this is a reunion in many respects. So with that, I jumped to GQ. Michael and I have both moved on from ESPN, and he has created his own production company. And I can't wait to dig into all the professional layers because you have been through some serious reinvention, as have I. So I can greatly understand a lot of things you've been through. So I can't wait to dive into that. But nevertheless, I found this GQ Q&A very illuminating. And this is somebody who considers themselves a close friend of yours. And, you were asked about how you look back. Generally, the question was how you look back on our time at doing His and Hers, which I often describe, and I'm sure you do too, as like, we were doing some of the craziest, dumbest things you would ever put on television, but it all worked. And we were having a lot of fun. And I would share that I also didn't realize the scope of what we were doing because we were so involved.
Yeah.
Here was your quote. You said, I wish I would have appreciated what we were doing more while we were doing it. I let my ambition get in the way of my appreciation. It's what happens when you're in that Bristol bubble. I was always focused on what was next. Frankly, I was focused on a form of external validation that should not have mattered to me. I knew what we were doing was groundbreaking. I knew we were trendsetters in many respects. I felt like what we were doing was better than what anybody else was doing, but it wasn't enough for me to just feel that way. It was, I need to be in a better time slot. We need a better looking studio. We need more staff. We need promotion and commercials. Some of this I've heard you say before in our private conversation. The part that surprised me was when you said you were focused on a form of external validation. So Mike, my first question to you is, what validation were you looking for and why? Yes, I double-barreled you. John Sawatsky would be very
Well, and it kind of surprises me that you were surprised to read that, because you remember all these conversations that we had about how, once we started the podcast and even into the TV show, we always had the selling tapes out the trunk mentality. We used to say that to each other all the time. It's like, we all we got. We got to grow this thing, And so, that tangible external validation that comes with, okay, we're on E1 now. Because we always felt like, we were in Studio N. For people, okay, you've never been to ESPN, like, we were the only studio the only show that had a studio that was in the middle of the newsroom. Everybody else had their own studio. We had a fucking closet. We had the smallest studio. We had the worst looking set. We were on ESPN2. Both of us are super fucking competitive. And we felt like we had the best show on the network. Nobody was knowing what we were doing. Nobody was having the conversations we were having. Nobody was creating the kind of content, the moments that we were having. We were the envy of a lot of our colleagues who were looking at us having that much fun. It's like, damn, y'all having fun. And yet, you know, this for me, it was like, we not on E1, or we still, you know, we're midday, we're not getting the attention, the commercials, the ink that everybody else is getting. And so that it's not that I didn't know that we were good. It's not that I didn't know that I was good and you were good and we were magical together. It's that I didn't feel like we were getting the recognition that we deserved externally and really externally, but yet internally. And honestly, when I say external validation, I'm not talking about the fans, because we had some loyal fans and loyal followers and people that held us down through it all. I'm talking about internally, but externally in Bristol. Like, I was looking for somebody, consciously and subconsciously, I was looking for somebody to say, great job, Michael and Jemele. Now you can come to E1. Now you are worthy of graduating to ESPN and having more eyeballs on your show. And sure enough, eventually that happened. But all that glitters ain't gold, as we came to find out.